She slapped my wife on our own porch, in broad daylight, in front of neighbors who froze like statues. My heart stopped for a second, then roared, with the kind of rage that makes your chest feel like it's on fire. You know that split second when injustice is so sharp it carves a scar into your memory. That was it. She had crossed a line that no neighbor, no human being, should ever cross. But what this self-proclaimed queen of the HOA didn't know was that my wife wasn't tea alone. And when you mess with her, you mess with me, and I begot a family of brothers who done to wear ties and clipboards, but uniforms and boots. And sometimes karma doesn't come quietly. Sometimes it arrives in the form of a full army convoy shaking the street beneath your feet. Let me back up for a moment. My wife and I had recently moved into what we thought was our dream neighborhood. A beautiful cul-de-sac, freshly painted houses, a community playground, and those neat little picket fences that scream peaceful life. We were expecting our first child, and I wanted nothing more than to give her a safe place to raise our baby. I had just finished my years of active service in the Army, and this move felt like a new chapter, leaving behind the dust, the long deployments, the constant adrenaline, and stepping into stability. Or so I thought. Enter Karen. Every neighborhood has one. She was the HOA president, self-appointed queen bee, ruler of lawns, driveways, and mailboxes. At first, it was just the usual micromanaging. Letters about trash cans being visible, notes about our grass being a shade too long, and once she even snapped at me for leaving my truck parked on the street overnight. My wife laughed it off in the beginning. "She's harmless," she'd say, brushing it aside. But I could see how Karen's eyes lingered, how she relished authority like it was oxygen. I recognized that hunger for control. I'd seen it in officers who mistook rank for entitlement. The turning point came one humid summer evening. My wife, swollen at 8 months pregnant, sat on our porch sipping lemonade. She loved the porch. It was her safe little corner, where she could breathe and watch the sunset paint the sky. That night, Karen marched over like a storm cloud. I wasn't outside at first. I was fixing something in the garage, but I heard the sharp tone, that voice laced with venom. "What do you think you're doing out here looking like that?" Karen snapped. My wife blinked, confused. "Excuse me? You're dragging down the neighborhood's image, sitting there like some mess," Karen hissed. "This is a respectable community, and pregnant or not, you need to keep appearances." My wife, ever the gentle one, tried to smile. "I'm just sitting, Karen. I'm not hurting anyone." I had just stepped out of the garage when I saw it. The slap. Quick, loud, a sting that snapped my wife's head to the side. For a heartbeat, time froze. My wife gasped, a hand flying to her cheek. I felt a surge of white-hot fury so fast I thought I might black out. My fists clenched so tight my nails bit into my palms. Every muscle screamed to charge forward, to protect, to retaliate. But training and years of discipline kept me rooted for that half-second longer. Karen smirked as if she had proven a point, as if she thought she'd put my wife in her place. "Don't you dare!" I started, but Karen spun on her heel and stormed off, muttering something about filing a report with the HOA. I rushed to my wife, heart pounding. Her cheek was already red, tears brimming in her eyes. Not from pain, but from shock. "She hit me," she whispered, as though saying it aloud might make it more real. That was it. That was the moment the switch flipped inside me. I wasn't just a husband anymore. I was a soldier again. And this was a mission. Neighbors had seen everything. Some whispered, some filmed quietly on their phones, but no one moved to intervene. Fear of the HOA? Fear of Karen? Didn't matter. What mattered was that my wife had been assaulted on our property. That night, as she slept, I sat in the dark, staring at my old army gear in the closet. Memories of my brothers-in-arms came flooding back. Men who had stood beside me in deserts and jungles, who had had my back in firefights and midnight patrols. Those bonds don't break with distance. They're forged in heat and blood and sacrifice. So I made some calls. Simple calls, No yelling, no dramatics. Just, she put her hands on my wife. I need you. The responses came quick, steady, like the clicks of rounds being chambered. When and where? Say no more. We'll be there. Within 48 hours, word had spread through the grapevine of my old unit. Guys who lived nearby, guys who owed me, guys who didn't owe me a damn thing but still showed up, because that is what family does. Meanwhile, Karen strutted around the neighborhood like nothing had happened. She doubled down, filing a ridiculous HOA complaint against us for unruly porch behavior. She even left a typed letter taped to our door demanding disciplinary action against my wife. The arrogance was unbelievable, but her smug reign was about to end. The next HOA meeting was scheduled for Saturday afternoon in the community clubhouse just down the street. Karen was practically giddy, neighbors said, ready to flex her authority again. She had no idea what was coming. That morning, I kissed my wife's forehead and told her to stay inside and rest. She looked at me, searching my eyes. "You're not going to do something stupid, are you?" she asked softly. "Not stupid," I said, squeezing her hand. "Just necessary." By the time the HOA meeting started, the sound of engines began to rumble in the distance. Low, steady, unmistakable. At first, neighbors looked around confused. Then heads turned. Windows opened. Phones lifted. Down the main street rolled a convoy. Military trucks, SUVs, men in uniform. My brothers. They didn't storm in weapons raised. They didn't need to. Their presence alone spoke volumes. Boots hit pavement in unison. Doors slammed shut like thunderclaps. The convoy filled the street outside the clubhouse, engines idling like growls. Karen's voice, shrill and commanding just moments before, faltered mid-sentence. She turned, her eyes going wide, her face draining of color. "What is this?" she stammered, clutching her clipboard like a shield. I stepped forward from the line, calm, steady, every step deliberate. "This," I said, my voice carrying, "is what happens when you think you can put your hands on my wife and get away with it." Gasps rippled through the room. Cameras flashed. Karen's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. Behind me, my brothers stood tall, silent, immovable. They weren't here to fight. They were here to stand witness, to show that my family wasn't alone. "Do you feel powerful now?" I asked her. "Do you feel untouchable? Because here's the truth, Karen. You picked the wrong family, and every single neighbor here now knows exactly what you did." Silence hung thick. Even Karen's usual allies sat frozen, eyes darting away. Her hand trembled. She dropped the clipboard, stuttered something about misunderstanding, but the crowd wasn't buying it. Phones recorded every second. Her empire of intimidation crumbled in real time. Within a week, Karen resigned from the HOA. Officially, she cited personal reasons. Unofficially, she couldn't show her face without whispers, without eyes burning holes into her back. Her power evaporated. But the real victory? The safety in my wife's eyes. The knowledge that she wasn't alone, that no one would ever lay a hand on her again without facing consequences. Looking back, I don't regret a thing. Sometimes justice isn't a courtroom or a fine. Sometimes justice is an army standing shoulder to shoulder, reminding a bully that no throne built on fear can withstand the weight of truth. And if there's one lesson Karen, and maybe anyone listening, should remember, it's this. Don't mistake kindness for weakness. Because sometimes the quietest porch in the neighborhood can call down thunder when provoked. So when people ask me if I'd do it again, I just smile. Because the answer is yes, every single time. And to Karen, wherever she is now, I hope she learned that day that real power isn't anti in clipboards or rules. It's in respect, and if you throw that away, don't be surprised when an army shows up at your door,